Okay, for a quick repeat of how to start stitching, 1, make sure your settings are correct. 2, you're going to take your fabric, slide it underneath your presser foot, line up with the line that you want on your stitch plate so you can sew an accurate distance from the edge of the fabric. I'm going to stick with the 5/8. You're going to lower your presser foot and make sure you start in a little bit so you can stitch the back and come forward for a back stitch. Hold on to these 2 threads, press on your back stitch button, and there we go. I'm going to go to the edge of the fabric but not off. I can let go of these threads now. I'm going to keep this edge with my 5/8 and I'm going to stitch forward. The machine pulls the fabric through on its own. If I let it do what it wants though, notice how this fabric is getting farther and farther from my 5/8. To help it out, I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm just going to go from side to side and kind of help it pivot its way back to my 5/8. Okay, there's my 5/8 again. Now I can go on a lovely straight line. Maybe it went in this way. And oh no, I'm not in my 5/8 anymore. I'm going to gently tug here, just a little bit, so the fabric walks its way back over to my 5/8 and I can continue my straight line. There is no forward and backward pulling because the machine does that on its own. Go right to the edge. I'm going to back stitch these 4 stitches. With the needle up, I'm going to lift up on the press foot and pull my fabric out. Cut it off with a thread cutter. And now you can see my stitching, how it curves. For any project, you want a straight line. The best you can to have a straight line, the better. If it curves this much, the best way to fix it is put your fabric back in your machine. Figure out where it's no longer at your 5/8, like right about here. See that line in the center? That should line up on my stitching. I'm just going to start again here. Put a little bit of a back stitch, stitch forward, and this time I'm going to keep it on my 5/8. See how I'm stitching over here instead of over there? Well, look, I'm back on my 5/8. If that was all, I could put a back stitch here and stop. But I can see it's coming out over here again. So I'm just going to keep going on my 5/8. And look, right here it lines up again. I'm going to add a little bit of a back stitch, and then I can pull it out. Now it looks a little bit funky having these extra threads here, but you can see that one line is straight through the middle. Right here, I need to use my seam ripper and remove that. It is not going to look good on my project. It's not going to do what I want it to for later stitches. So I'm going to take my seam ripper. I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to snag that, slide it down right here, and it will cut my thread. And then I can come over here and just pull these until it comes out. Now, I'm kind of skipping one. That way I don't have to seam rip every single stitch. And you just pull it till it comes out. Alright, there, looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to cut off my little bit of extra. Note I now have a straight line instead of a curved one. On the back, I've got this lovely bit of thread that came off with that. I'm just going to cut it off like this. Choop. And there's my straight line. This will allow my project to work much better.